millions of dollars in profit by not monetizing her current audience. So before we get into this, if you are an expert, a creator, or a coach yourself, you want to learn how to monetize your audience and your passions, right, in a sustainable way by building a business, right, around yourself, then you can check the description below. I'll put in my IG and information on how to reach me, book a call to partner with me, to work with me, right? So with that being said, let's get to the drawing board. So basically, Wizard Liz checking here, her main source of traffic, right? Her main audience is on YouTube. So she's got YouTube. She's got 7.3 million, 7.4, basically 7.4 million followers on YouTube. Each of her videos on average gets about 1.5, 1.6 million views, right? And this is very consistent for many, many years. Her audience has been watching her for so long, and she hasn't been selling anything. So she definitely has a lot of trust. Her videos are average 20, 30 minutes long. That's a lot of screen time with the audience to build up trust. So I'd say what she wants to sell, she already has enough nurturing to be able to justify very easily whatever it is that she would want to sell to them, right? We look at her other platform. If we look at Instagram, 2.7 million followers on Instagram. And on Instagram, that she does not post much reels, but she gets an average of like 1 point, let's say 1.2, 1.5 mil views, but she only has 6 videos on Instagram. So obviously, YouTube is going to be her main source of traffic for the launch. Would it hurt? Would it be good to add more IG Reels? Sure, it would. But YouTube would be sufficient in this amount, just doing what she's already doing. She posts consistently once every 2 weeks. Let's say we get that to once a week. That's 1 million views a week that she'll be able to get. So how can she go about launching this? If we look at her content, most of her content basically revolves around female self-improvement. Ugh, these pixels look weird. But basically, most of her content revolves around female self-improvement content. So basically, I would almost think of her like very similar to Tate or Iman's content, but different audience, that's women. So examples of this, right? Her videos come in through watch this if you feel bad, how to become rich, how to recognize signs from the universe, how to create success, watch this to believe in yourself, watch out for these types of toxic women, right? So understanding that the type of audience that she currently resonates with is women, and it's mainly what's it called? It's mainly female self-improvement content. Then she would need to do is basically do audience research around that, which would not be very difficult. All it would be for her would be some Instagram, would be basically doing some Instagram polls. That would be the best way for her because she has so much traffic. Instagram polls and maybe even a type form or Google Forms, right? Survey for people to understand what it is that they really want, that they like about her, that they would want to see if that they would like to learn from her. After doing this form, right? Form and polls, they should take about, let's say, the polls and forms, that could take literally 2 to 3 days max. If you want, you can also do calls, right? Short 15-minute calls with the audience, right? With her being so big though, I wouldn't necessarily think calls are too necessary, but calls will give you the best results, the best idea of what to do because they allow you to talk with the audience specifically and understand real insights as to what they're thinking. So typically I would have the creator himself do it, but for her, since she's so big, I would just get someone like a team member or I'd take the calls for myself if I was working with her, right? To take about 50 calls, no more than 50 should be enough, but 20 to 50 calls should be enough to understand what it is that you need to, that people want. Once you do that, that allows you to have an offer, right? An example offer, right? If what ever ended up coming from the research tells you what the offer is. You don't go off of what the market tells you. Everything is given to you from the market. The market pretty much tells you what they want. If you don't give the market what they want, they will not buy. If the market tells you, hey, we have a lot of problem with your women that have a lot of problem with getting into good and loving relationships. Okay, now we know that that is what they want. Maybe we find out in the calls that something that they would like to do is be able to get a relationship in a certain amount of time, right? So the offer would give us, okay, what they want, what is their goal, and then why do they want that goal? How long do they want to take to get that goal? So how, like, time frame wise, what do they want in their time frame wise? And then basically what type of fulfillment do they want to see, right? If you want to learn about different types of fulfillment that you can offer as a coach, you can check out one of my other videos. I have one basic video about how to start a coaching business for dummies. It goes through some different types of fulfillment, but I'll also have an in-depth video on different fulfillment models, right? And how to structure them for your clients, right? So the offer will go through all of these things. And basically, in the end, after doing all of this, your offer is going to come down to look something like this. I help blank, I help blank people do blank objective in blank time without blank. I help, for example, let's say they wanted to get into a relationship. I help I help young women get their dream relationship in under 90 days without dealing with broke men. Perfect example right there. Now, all of this, it all comes down to the research. If the research is wrong, the offer does not resonate, and then when people see that offer, they will not want to buy it. No matter how much you want, you cannot force an offer onto the market. So, for example, let's say we did market research for the wizard list, and this ended up becoming her offer. I help young women, aka women under 25. I help women under 25 get their dream relationship in under 90 days without without dealing with broke men. Okay, so now that she has her offer, right? This is our sample offer. We need to take it to market. So how would she take it to market? With her audience being, this is going to depend for different types of people, but with her audience being on YouTube mainly, then the best thing is going to be to have a VSL YouTube video, right? And essentially what that would look like is she would come on to, should have a VSL, right? She would come on to YouTube first and basically put out this for a hard launch, right? She would put out this VSL video. This VSL video would basically have a specific structure that tells everyone about that basically presents the offer to everyone, presents the benefits of the offer, presents why people should be interested in the offer, and gives people the chance to either to basically buy the product or book a call with her, right? So that would be book call, book a call with the team to buy the product, or if the product is and then depending on the product, if it's not that expensive, they could go to the page to buy the product. Now, how expensive is the product going to be? That then goes back to the market research. All these people that are going to be telling you the offer, the goal, the why, how long, the fulfillment, all of that is also they're also going to come in and tell you pricing. Because if you're doing all this research correctly, you're going to understand everything about a person. You're going to understand what they do for work. You're going to be understanding what it is that they how much they have spare in their money, like per month, how much they make, and how much they're willing to spend to get their specific offer fulfilled for them. All of that will tell you what type of price you should charge the market for them to get this desired offer. So once she does this VSL, she's now able to take a million people that see this VSL and present her product or offer to them, right? One time. And they'll be able to come in and book a call with her to, if they're trying to purchase something high ticket, or if it's something mid or low ticket, they could go to a landing page basically that will essentially guide them into buying the product. Um, that is just a pretty simple breakdown. If you like um, a more complex explanation on how this works, or even like how you could do this yourself for your own business, then check the description below. You can book a call with me or message me on Instagram, basically, to work with me, get a consultation.